Namato Ratanatayasa. May I pay homage to Triple Gem, the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha. Once again, we gathered here on this Sunday morning to practice meditation and learn the skills to use this meditation technique in our day-to-day life. While we were just chanting, we were reflecting for those who are suffering from the crisis in Tunisia, Kuwait, and France, and the families, those who were affected. Spending a few moments sending our loving kindness and compassion to the families, those who are suffering from this accident, wishing them to be able to cope with this crisis, with this loss, with this chaos. Wishing them to be strong, stand up again, and carry on with their life in a dignified manner. And sharing our merits that we have accumulated through the reflection, through the meditation, through the purification. Sending and sharing, wishing, enlightening those who have caused, and wishing all those ignorance fades away and brought the wisdom, humanity, compassion, brotherhood, rather than hate, negativities, crashes, wars, and violence. In the meantime, bring your attention to the room and to the body, reflecting upon ourselves that how fleeting our life is. It can end at any time, at anywhere, at any moment. It can be from any incident. It could be because of the accident, because of the other problems, or because of the ending of our lifespan, or because of our disease. We never know when we're going to finish our life. So it's very important to be ready, prepare our own self before it has come, by reflecting upon ourselves. Knowing the body, knowing the mind of your own, investigating personal activities, it's called the sankharas, that generates the next existence. As our physical action, verbal action, and mental action. Each and every action, once we have performed, it will generate into the sankharas, a forming energy, and that will form our existence. And in the meantime, depending on our sankharas, whether it is wholesome or unwholesome, that will define for the next existence. So the practice of meditation is to know, to understand and shape our activities, the way we behave, the way we say, and the way we think. Being mindful of our each and every activities will automatically generate the loving kindness and compassion to our own self and to the others. Because we will be able to understand our own self, that how much vulnerable we are. And in the meantime, when we are hurting someone, we can feel the hurt for our own self. We will be able to know that as we love ourselves, so others love themselves. Same with the speech. We don't like to hear any hate speech, so other people do. Therefore, once we are mindful of our any actions that we are performing, we will not create any violence, we will not create any hate, or we will not do anything that creates the violence. But every action that is performed mindfully generates loving kindness and compassion. Full of love, full of compassion, full of friendship, which creates the harmony within ourselves and to the society. We can take it as in our own very micro level of our family. Family becomes a harmony through our own mindful actions, the way we speak, the way we behave, the way we think, appreciating a person next to us like a husband or wife or children, understanding each other, respecting each other. And that's we are performing with full of love, full of compassion, and full of respect. Same principle. Once we are performing mindfully, we will be able to perform it in a wider society. And we become mindful of every action that we are performing. And here, every Sunday, we are learning, practicing this mindfulness meditation is to familiarize, sharpening our mind, knowing every action that we are taking. And how do we do this mindfulness meditation? So as we have been practicing, if your mind is composed and concentrated enough, then go straight to the primary object. Otherwise, you can bring your attention to the body, feeling the sensation in your body, relaxing your body from top to bottom, not holding your body, and finding the primary object where you can concentrate or establishing a mindfulness, anchoring your mind. Once you have established yourself on the primary object, paying a mindful attention on that primary object, such as rising and falling of abdomen, When it is rising, it is rising. When it is falling, it is falling. Rising, falling. If you are not practicing through the scanning the body, feeling the sensation of the body and finding the right primary object, but you want to go straight to the primary object, you may have to force yourself a couple of times to feel the rising and falling of abdomen. But once you have found, established, realized, do not force. Let it flow naturally, normally, paying just bare attention. As it is rising, as it is falling, rising, falling. Paying a mindful attention on this rising and falling of abdomen is a skill to settling our mind down, bringing into the one-pointedness. In a way, sharpening our mind to see through things as they truly are. It's a bridge to see the secondary objects, the way it is coming through our senses. It could be our thinking, it could be any sensation in our body, or the sound that we hear, or the smell that we smell. Could be anything. These are the secondary objects. Once these secondary objects arises, leave the primary object, pay attention to the secondary object, observing that, acknowledging it, and noting. Just as if that's a sound, noticing it as hearing, and let it go and come back to the primary object, rising, falling. And if that's a pain in your back or in your leg, noticing it as pain, and come back to primary object. But bear in your mind that when we are noticing it as a pain or hearing as a sound as a hearing, we are not generating whether liking or disliking. Just observing objectively and noticing it as an object. As we see a river flow, a water flowing, or an object that we are perceiving, it's complete outside of our body. Do not grasp or do not neglect. Just observe as it is, noticing it as it is, and come back to the primary object, rising, falling, rising, falling. This process of noticing any secondary object that comes to contact with the senses, its momentary concentration one after another will help to improve our concentration and being aware of any action that we are performing in our day-to-day life. Giving us a flexibility to be mindful of every action at any time, at anywhere. and performing it effectively under our own will. And gradually our mind will be controlled and our mind will act on the basis of our understanding or of our wisdom. And in the meantime, gradually we will see the changing nature of our own mind. Emotion, feeling and sensation that is changing at every moment in connection with the environment, in the situation and the place. It's not what we are feeling, it's not what we are sensing or emotions that is pure, but these are the stimulation in connection with the environment and our action, our reaction to it, that generates the sankhara of forming nature and existence arises. So our job during the meditation is to learn and to be skilled this tool to observe objectively as it is. That's why always remember, observe, acknowledge, noticing and let it go and come back to the primary object. This is the basic formula that we can use at any time and become skilled with it. So for next couple of minutes, let's spend meditating on this primary object and using this formula, observing, acknowledging, noticing and let it go. And bring your attention to the primary object, rising, falling, rising, falling.